The filter functions, as per the filter functions, we have different types of functions are available. The calculate, calculate table, filter, all selected, all except keep filter, remove filter. Don't think filter functions, just a filter alone. These functions, right? All these functions does the filtering operation. To start with this, let us understand the calculate function. So this is a syntax for the calculate function. The first argument is your expression. Second one is filter one, filter two, and so on. The filters can be any one of the following. You can use a Boolean filter condition where if the city, if the sales is greater than 1,000. Okay, if you have the sales amount greater than 1,000 in your data set, then it will become a true. Right? Sales is greater than 1,000. So that is your Boolean filter expression. Or you can use table filter expression. A while back we have seen it. Filter function, I used it. Sales amount is greater, the sales amount is 500 or more than 500. Filter only those records. That is what your table filter expressions. You can filter modification function also. We can use it. That we will see it little later. So far, we have only looked at the implicit filter context. What do you mean by implicit filter context? Along with the sales amount, if I drop any text value, so look here. I just show you total sales. You see here, okay, this is the total sales there I have used. Okay, this is my total sales. Very good. This is available here. I just drag and drop the total sales here. This is a measure I have created. Here, what formula that I use, just look here, sum of sales amount. Okay. In this column, whatever the values are there, it do the totaling. Okay. It gives us the total sales. The total sales is 4,56,000. Okay. The moment when I drag and drop any text column like category or location, look here, in this case, I have dragged and dropped the location. So what happened? It does the magic. It automatically splits the total sales by location. Each city, what is the total sales out of the total? So out of the total sales, how much sales we made in total in each city? We can see it here. Okay. So this is what your filter context. Automatically, the filter context applied here. So in for this sales value in Chennai, how much we made. That is what the filter context is Chennai in this line. In this line, the filter context Delhi. It automatically the row filtering is happening here. The calculate function, what we are going to discuss now is the calculate function. It's a very simple function, yet it does a lot of complex things. It does the complex things. One of the most dynamic functions. It can help us to add deeper insights to your reports. See, essentially, the calculate function allows us to change the context of a calculation within a measure. That is the beauty of this calculate function. The ability to change the context within a measure is very important in DAX. We have seen how to perform context transition in the data view. Okay, from the row context to filter context, we are able to we are able to transition it using the calculate function. Okay, the next point here is what you need to remember is the calculate function in DAX evaluates an expression in a modified filter context. Okay, and there are two parts here, the aggregation and the filter. The expression is mandatory. The first argument supposed to your expression, and the filter. Filter is optional here. This is very similar to Excel summary function. Those of you already worked in Excel extensively, so you should be able to understand the you can relate sum function with your calculate function. So now the question is what we can do with calculate. It can help us to modify the filter context of the expression along with other functions like all function, all select. You can do it. You can modify the filter context. It can also override the already existing filter context. If the filter context does not exist, you can create a new filter context using calculate function. Don't worry, all these things seems to be, they use the different fancy terms here, filter context. It'll be kind of, difficult to digest for the beginners. Now what we will do is, we will take a look at a simple measure. This is the measure name. You can give whatever the name that you want, but it should be meaningful. But here itself, I did not give the proper name here. In the real-time scenario, you need to give some proper business name here. So on the right side of the equal sign matters a lot. Calculate the first argument I mentioned about the total sales. So what is this total sales? This itself a measure. Now you understood, you remember I discussed about the difference between measure and calculated column. As part of the measure, I told you that time, you can use a measure in other measure. This is the measure name currently. The calc with filter measure is a new measure. Inside this measure, I'm using the already created another measure. Okay, similarly, you can use this measure in other measure. Okay, so in this case, the total sales. I don't want to type the command again here, sum of total sales. I don't want to do that because already we have created a measure for that. It is nothing but the sum of sales amount. Fine, I reuse the measure total sales here. Okay, and the next one is the filter. You remember the second argument can be your filter. You can specify more than one filter condition also. So this is what I'm talking about, the filter. Okay, the first one is the expression. In this case, the expression is the total sales. The total sales is nothing but sum of sales amount. That is a kind of the simple expression. And the next one is this one. Now the question is in what order the calculate function evaluates. Okay, in this case, we have, the first two arguments are there. The first argument is your expression and second argument is the greater than 10. So in this case, which one will get evaluated first? This one will get evaluated first. If you have any filtering condition, this is the filtering criteria, greater than 10, or the fact sales region is equivalent to BLR, Bangalore. You are filtering the record. Okay, the fact sales have, let's say you have 100,000 records are there, but for Bangalore alone, you have just 500 records are there. So fact sales, instead of quantity, you have city is equal to BLR or Bangalore. Only 500 records will get filtered. With this filtered or the subset of the data, if you compute the sales amount, it makes sense, isn't it? Right, so that it will take lesser time and lesser resources, memory and CPU to perform the calculation. So in this case, this one will get evaluated first, and then this one will get evaluated first. First, it will filter the data. 100,000 records now will narrow down to 500 records. On top of the 500 records, if you perform sum of sales amount, it will be faster. So this is the order. If you have a filtering condition in your calculator, that one will get evaluated first, and then your expression will get evaluated next. Okay, the next one is this one. Now let us take a look at this measure. Here also the same thing. The first argument is total sales, second argument is quantity greater than 10. Here I have added another filtering condition. Fact is location key equal to Hyderabad. And okay, yeah, before jumping here, yeah, let us look at this one. See, I have added another condition here. This is also filtering condition criteria. Here also I have included another filtering criteria here. We have two filtering criteria. Criteria is there. Now you tell me of these three argument, which one will get evaluated first? So as we learned a while back, the filter condition will get evaluated first, but here we have two filtering conditions are there. Those items we sold more than 10 and the location is Hyderabad. So if you filter the fact sales with more than 10, maybe out of 100,000 records, you have something like 50,000 records. You can see that you sold more than 10 units. But out of those 50,000 records, when I apply another filtering condition like Hyderabad, we recently started the business, hence only 200 records are there, right? Let's say 400 records are there. Out of the 400 records, only 100 records we sold more than 10 items. So now you tell me, I gave you the clue, which one will get evaluated first? See, if I say greater than 10, what will happen? You have 100,000 records are there. All the cities put together, it will go and check, okay, out of 100,000 records, 50,000 records we sold more than 10 items. It got reduced, subset of the, instead of 100,000 records, 50,000 records, it got reduced to 50,000 records because of this condition. And then if I add another condition, what happens? Out of the 50,000 records, in the case of Hyderabad, we have just already 200 records are there. So now what happened? So if in this case, what happens is this one will get evaluated first. Sorry, this one, the inner one will get evaluated first. And then, sorry for the confusion. The inner one will get evaluated first always. And it's something like inside and outside. Okay. And then this one will get evaluated next. Okay. For that, what you need to do is smartly, you can put this condition in the second line. This one, you can put it in the third line smartly. See, the DAX function, especially the calculate function, this is the order of evaluation. Okay, this is how it will get evaluated. But logically, if you see here, quantity is greater than 10, out of 100,000 records, 50,000 records, we made sales more than 10. 50,000 records, unnecessarily it is filtering it. And if you are pretty sure in Hyderabad, the number of transactions are not much. First of all, the number of transactions not much. Then you filter it by the city name. Okay, whether it is not much or less, right? If the city name, filter it by city because you are very particular about this city. And then on top of this, if you apply this, the performance will be faster. This is from the performance point of view. But when it comes to order of evaluation, inside and outside, first it evaluates this filtering condition, and then only it evaluates this criterion. Since you know the evaluation criterion, so now the question is, okay, what am I going to do with understanding the, which one will get evaluated first? Now you understood the importance of understanding evaluation, right? So it'll do the evaluation. First, this one filter it, right? This one will get, filtered. This condition will get applied on your data. Since we know the evaluation order, we are smartly replacing this line by this line, and then we are simply swapping this one. So what will happen if you know very well in the Hyderabad, the sales is not much in general. In that case, because we recently started or something like that, okay? In that case, you can put it here, you can put it this one, so that the performance will be much faster. So out of 100,000 records, Hyderabad, you just have 500 records are there. 100,000 got reduced to 500. If you apply this condition on the 500 records, it will not take much time. So now you understood why you need to understand the inner workings, okay? Inside, outside. The interview, they'll ask you, maybe they give you this scenario, okay? First, they will give you, okay, I'm going to add another filter condition. So inside, outside. Okay, we are going to extend this one with this, other measure. All these conditions are same here, but I'm going to add another condition, all. So inside the calculate function, I have used another function called all. You can nest a DAX function. So which means you can use a DAX function inside another DAX function. In this case, the calculate is a DAX function, all is another DAX function. You can call a DAX function inside another DAX function. And here I have included a new condition here, or a new condition. Yeah, the additional parameter I mentioned it here, argument. So in this case, which one will get evaluated first? Which one will get evaluated first? In this case, this one will get evaluated first, all. Okay. Okay, this I forgot to tell you, evaluated loss. This one will get evaluated first, evaluated second, and this one will get evaluated. So obviously, we are left with this one, right? So this is the evaluated loss. And in this case, the same measure, but we have included an additional parameter or argument, all function. So in this case, the all function will get evaluated first, uh, and then this one will get evaluated next, and then this one will get evaluated last. Okay. Evaluated first, and then it goes by something like this, in this case, outside, inside, and outside. So here, out, inside, outside, but here also the same thing, but the out first, this one will get the arrow is showing wrong thing here, and then this one and this one. Okay. So that is how the order of evaluation is happening. Now we will take a look at what this all function is all about, why it is getting evaluated first. We will take a look at this in a while. And like calculate function, we have something else called calculate table. This is also same as the calculate function. In the case of calculate function, we are going to use a scalar value here. Look here, sales amount, column name. The sales amount is available in fact sales. But whereas in the case of calculate table, as the name suggests, it returns a table. Like filter function, it returns a table. All right, so now we will jump into the Power BI desktop, and we will take a look at what exactly the calculate function is all about, what is calculate table, and how we can use it practically along with other functions. We have something else called all function. All function is also falls under filter functions. All function, all selected. So all select all except keep filter remove filter. All these 5 functions also falls under filter functions like other functions. Okay. Okay. Now the question is, as for calculate, we discussed about this one. What it can modify the filter context of the expression. What the hell is this, right? The next one, it can override the already existing filter context with the new one that's been specified in the calculate expression. These two, we will go and check it. I just create a fresh page here. We'll start with a simple example. Okay, here, this is the one we have used it. Okay, I have not yet created any functions. Here we can see some blank value. Okay, what I do is to start with, let's not have this kind of confusion. Category. Here I just drag and drop category. For the time being, I just remove the location name and category. I just put it here. And here I just show you what I created in the past batch, category and sales amount and the all measure and percentage of all the things. Okay. So what I do is, this is the one we have been discussing it, right? Now you are familiar with this. Fine. The next one is I'm going to create something like the measure is, I'm going to create a new measure. Calculate with filter. I'm going to use the calculate function here. I'm going to use the total sales measure. Look here, it's already I created it. I don't have to type sum of fact sales amount. I don't have to do it. I'm going to reuse the measure total sales, which I created already. The next one is the fact sales quantity is greater than 10, the same condition. Okay. And what happens here? Now let us, okay, here I have used the, okay, let it be there. Okay, I am done with it. This is the one calc with okay. Here the sum of sales amount. Okay, here what I did, right? So sum of sales amount for you do these totals and you do the total on the sales column for this condition. Those items we sold more than 10, for that you can do, or else what I do is I just do 100, greater than 100. Only in dairy product we have sold more than 100. So for this alone, give me the total sales for those. For those records we sold more than 100. You give me the total sales. I just go to the data view, and what is the dairy here? Dairy product name. I just go here and say the product name. This is slightly confusing for the beginners. Don't worry. If you are still not comfortable, I'll put you with my other batch. And if you are okay, you can attend that one also. Okay, soon I'll be starting the DAX for the weekend night batch. You can join that. By attending more than one batch, you will be comfortable. Look here, what is the dairy product? So we are interested in dairy. And dairy where it is there. So I just filter it here. This is for testing purpose. Oh, dairy is a category, right? So then I need to go and check it, the category name, category, where is the category? Okay, here. And this one, you can see the dairy. Dairy C002. Look here, I just note down C002 is my dairy. And I need to go to my the fact sales table. But in the fact sales table, I don't have the cat ID. So hence, I need to check the C002 in my product table. See how I am, checking it out. In the product table, I just select this one, C002, right? I just filter here, and I'm interested in C0 because C002 are related to dairy product. So you can, P05, 3, 5, 9, 10. In this dairy product, these are the products are, they sold it. These are the products they sold it. And the corresponding product ID is this one, because in my fact sales table, I don't have the product name and category name. First of all, category ID is not there. That is the reason why, to know the products that we sold it under the dairy category, we need to know the product ID. So 3, 5, 9, 10, I just go to the fact sales. I just select it here. Product ID 3, 5, 9, 10. So 3, 5, 9, 10, right? This is what I have noted down. Okay. Here, if you see here, and what is the condition here? More than 100. right? In this case, I just select this visual. And since I selected this one, I can see what all the columns that I use it along with the measure. So this is the measure I created. I just go and check calc with filter once again. Here, fact sales quantity is greater than 100. We will go and verify the quantity, those things. Here, I just select more than 100, right? So I unselected 100 and above 100, right? So more than 100, I just selected it. But still, we go and select it. Here we can see that the sales amount, we need to ignore one record, right? So yeah, this is 100 because 100 we are not supposed to take in because greater than 100, more than 100, only two records. So here, what is the sales amount? 1,80,000, 1,80,000. So if you add these two things, how much you will get? 3,60,000. 3 lakhs. Am I correct? So that's the reason why I created these data on my own, the fact, sales, dimension, fact. If you have less volume of the data, it will be pretty easier for you to understand. Look here, those items we sold more than, and next what I do is, okay, in the dairy product, we sold these two days, right? In these two, Friday and Saturday, we sold more than 8 products. What is the quantity here? Yeah, 1,000, more than 100, right? More than 100. So in 2,000 records, 2,000 units we sold in the dairy product. Okay, is this applicable only in dairy? So what is the assurance that we wouldn't have sold more than 100 in other category or other product? So for that, what we will do is, I just go here and clear all filters. I cleared all the filters. Now what we will do is we'll just simply blindly go and check. So now currently all the categories, and the entire record is available now. In this, what I do is I'll just simply go here and unselect it. See, in the Excel, we do it this way, right? 100. So more than 100 is something like 1,000. Look here. Even if you take the entire data and if you filter it by manually selecting like this, you're able to find out only 2 products or only in 2 transactions. We sold more than 100 quantity. So what is the corresponding sales for this? The sales, total sales is 3,36,000. So here, instead of going and manually checking it, assume that you have millions of records. Need to go and filter it, takes a lot of time, isn't it? So make sure that this is for testing purpose, we came here. Once you are done with this, make sure that you are, clearing all the filters. Okay. So most of the developers have seen they don't do this step. They first testing purpose that they filter it and then they leave it. They forget to clear the filter. Okay. In this case, I cleared it now. I got this one back. So programmatically, how do we enable this one? See, in the real-time scenario, you will have to on a daily basis 200 reports will be refreshed or will be generated, and these 200 reports will be sent to different peoples across the globe within your organization. If you, especially when you work with huge company, right, this is what is going, everything is automated, so you cannot open each and every report and you cannot filter and you cannot send it. We want to make it dynamic. There is no business of opening the reports. Once you develop this, that's it. Okay, make it as much dynamic as possible. Your report should be dynamic. Okay, and there is no hard coding, nothing. You understood? So here we are not going to open. Say once you create the DAX filter like this, then they'll be able to understand, oh, this is with, again, we need to give some meaningful name for this column. How do I give this? I just click on the down arrow and rename for this visual. More than, or simply I say greater than 100 quantity, 100 units sold. Let's say your management, they are very particular about, along with the sales amount, can you, tell me, I want to see more than 100 units sold. right? So 100 units sold. For that, what is the total? In dairy, see, there is a, within the dairy category, you get two different values, isn't it? This is for total sales you made in the dairy category. Of this store, dairy category, how many number of records we could, how many number of transactions we sold more than 100 units sold. For that, you tell me the total. So now you understood with DAX, you can, and okay, for make it more interesting, what I will do is, this is the one I used it. Here, what I do is I just say 50. And then you click on it here. Look here, 100 is, more than 100 quantities we sold. For that, the corresponding sales amount is this one. But in this case, 50 units. They are very particular about, they want to see this, they want to get this insight also. Who? The management. Tell me how much sales we made in each category. Okay, along with it, is there any way if I can see for those category we sold more than 50 units, what is the sales, what is the sales amount for that? Yes, that is also possible. Can go extra mile, we can do it this way. Okay, and they can ask questions like, okay, I'm fine. In addition to that, is it possible, because our office is in Bangalore. In Bangalore, we are very particular about this, and we can add additional condition here. For example, we are going to copy this, and then I'm going to create another measure. I'm going to add one more condition. Besides this condition, I'm going to add one more condition here. I just say the fact sales location key is equivalent to BLR. I'm not interested in saying all, each and every city. That is not okay. You need to change this one, filter to some new measuring. Okay, because it's already existing. Location key Bangalore BLR is not there. Table BLR. Okay. Here, see here, you can see the underline, right? That means there is a syntax problem here. Use double quote. Probably, see, with double quote, it is working fine. We can suggest Microsoft, right? Instead of using double quote, it should accept both, right? So, like other programming, it's working fine now. The mistake was, instead of double quote, I have used single quote. Okay, and now what we will do is calculate with filter to. You just drag and drop it. But it shows nothing now. Calculate with filter to. Okay, calculate with filter to. So fact says location key is equal to Bangalore. Okay, Bangalore, we did not sell more than 50, it seems. Okay, what I will do is try with other city, Chennai. Yes, in Chennai, because I know the data. So in Chennai, we sold more than 50 products. So this one shows the Chennai related sales. Rename for this visual. And here I just give some meaningful name, more than 50 units sold in Chennai. So now you understood. It's so interesting, right? The DAX functions. With that, you can give a lot of deeper insights. This is only in Chennai. 50 units. See, first we started with the total sales we made in each category. Fine. The next one is of these, dairy category, and each category, which one we sold more than 50 units, right? What is the corresponding sales amount? Okay, we extended this analysis by including additional condition. Okay, you tell me in Chennai how much we made. So with this, we are able to understand, these 50 units we sold only in Chennai, right? So only in Chennai we sold. Okay, that is what we can see here. Fine, good. And also I've explained you, here we have two filtering criteria, conditions, right? Of these two, which one is getting evaluated first? This one and then this one. First this one gets evaluated, this one gets, and then this one will get evaluated. So what you do is you can change the order and then see the performance, especially when you work with the huge volume of the data. If you change the order of the condition, you can see the dramatic improvement in your performance. In the interview, they'll ask you, how did you improve the performance? You can tell this one also, okay? And right, so we just change this one. We know very well in some cities, a specific city, the transaction is not so high. Hence, we just swap these conditions. So I just put this condition first, and then I put this condition next. Hence, the performance was really good. Okay, and then next what we will do is we'll explore the calculate functions. It's already 3 o'clock. Okay, what we'll do is we'll try to speed it up a little faster so that you should be able to understand. Now, your manager wants you to calculate the percentage of sales you made. So what I'm going to do is in this visual, I'm going to remove all these unnecessary things, because in addition to that, you want to see something else, and he wants to see the percentage of contribution with respect to sales by each category. He wants to see that how much percentage of revenue that we made in each category in terms of percentage. Okay, so how do I calculate the percentage? See, in the case of Excel, it is pretty simple, right? You have a column like this. What you do is, in the next cell, equal sign, and this value is selected 400, and then total sale. Similarly, do it for the second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. I just open the Excel. Let's say here I have something like 100 and 200 and 250 is there, and the total sales is sum of so what is the big deal, right? This is the total sale. And now if you want to see the, want to compute the percentage for each and everything, right? So what I do is I just select this one and then divide it by this one. If I do it, it will give me the percentage. Okay, and here if I drag and drop this one, okay, it will not work because yeah, here I need to use dollar. Look here, if I divide the value 200 by 550, it will do that. So here you can simply specify the cell location and then of these two things, right? It will divide it, but here it is not possible in Power BI. You cannot take this value and divide it by this value. You cannot do it. Okay, like how we did it in Excel, the same thing. It's not possible in Power BI. So what we have to do is we have something called all function. I'm going to use the all function to calculate the total. Sorry, percentage of sales. Create another measure. But the problem with all functions, you cannot use it. You cannot use it alone. You need to use calculate. Okay, here I'm going to say total sales. This is the measure already I created it. Okay, I'm going to reuse it. Here what I'm going to do is here the all function on the category. What is my, in which table I have category? I have some, the category. I just press enter. I'll explain you what this one is, don't worry. Look here, beautiful. But it looks strange, isn't it? So here, it repeats the total sales across, for each and every row, right? Okay. Now what I do is, but there is nothing wrong here. But now the question is, why it is, repeating here? Can someone tell me why it is? The reason why it is repeating is I have used the function called all. All will simply ignore the filter. So in this case, I just specified the column name also. Any filter on the category column, simply you can ignore it. Okay, don't filter it. So in this case, what happened? It did the filtering automatically, right? After the total sales, for the beverages, what is the total sales we made? In the dairy category, how much sales we made out of this one? It does the filtering by default. In the all measure, in this measure, what I did, I use the all function. All function, what it does, what it tells to Power BI is, hey, don't do any filter. Simply ignore all the default filter. Simply ignore the default filter means what will happen? It will take the overall total and then it repeating it across the rows. Okay, it seems to be strange. Let it be there. So what am I going to do with this one? The next one is the look here. I have already created another measure. In the interest of time, I'm going to use okay, here I just say percentage of look here. I have already created this measure, total sales, and I have created a measure just a while ago. What was the measure name? I just select this one, all total sales measure, right? What I do is, you don't have to type the entire measure name. Look here, all uh, um, total sales measure, right? So when you type the first three letters or so, it will display something like this, the drop down box, all selected measure, all total sales measure, okay, and comma 0. So there is a function called divide here, divide. So what this divide function is does is total sales divided by the all total sales measure, okay, and comma 0. In case if it returns any blank value something, you return 0, okay, fine. So I just click on it at the end of it and press enter, or you can alternately click on this one. In case of any error, you can see it here. So it will not throw any error, I'm pretty sure. Okay, I'll explain you, don't worry. Look here, percentage of sales, all. I just drag and drop this. Superb, right? So I can get the percentage for. So what is happening here is it takes this value and divided by this one, and then it gives this one. Take this value and divided it by this total sales and gives you. Because in the case of all total sales measure, it repeats the total sales for all the rows. Hence, what we did, we used the divide function. I just, where is that? I just select everything for you people to understand it in a very intuitive way. What I will do, I just go to the insert button and you have something called text box. You select the text box and then you just put it here so that you can refer it. What measures that we used it here. Percentage of sales, right? So now you understood. the all total sales measure, I use it here. The first argument, the numerator is total sales, sum of sales amount. Sum of sales amount, this one divided by this one, that is the one will give you, value for your personal souls all. Okay. So this variable returns the value here. So this one, 400 divided by this one is the denominator is a very big value, hence it gives a 0. And this one is somewhat closer to the 88%. So with that, you are able to understand in dairy, contribution is more compared to the dairy category. Contribution is more in terms of the say revenue. Okay, revenue generation. Okay, this is the tops revenue generation category in this one. Okay, okay, fine. The next one is, that's all right. And here, if you see the total gives you 1 here. Okay, we can ignore this at this moment. Now you understood how it works. There is a divide function. Okay, the numerator and denominator unit. First argument numerator, second argument denominator. The numerator, this is the one sales amount. The sales amount we were able to get it using total sales. The total sales function, the measure was having sum of sales amount in it, right? Simply I call this one the numerator, and second one is the denominator is this one. So 400 divided, so that is how you get it. Hope you are able to understand. But the all function, what it does is, the advantage of this one is simply ignore the filter, the internal filter. So here for beverages, out of this total sales, how much is we made it? It is doing the filtering, right? Here, since I use the all function on the category column, don't filter, the values. Okay, here these the total sales, don't filter it. Simply it repeats it. That is the idea behind this. The next one is we have something else called all selected. This one seems to be a little bit overwhelming. Don't worry, I just make it as simple as possible. Look here, we have already created this measure. In the interest of time, we are going to use this previously all selected measure. The first argument, as usual, I have called the I reuse the same measure. Okay, why should I create a sum of sales amount, type it multiple times? I reuse the same measure. All, instead of all function, I have used all selected now. Everything is same in the all, whatever I used it, the same thing. But here, instead of all selected, I used it. Now we will understand what is the difference between all and all selected. I just drag and drop this measure here. Both of them gives the same value here. This one, sorry, this one and this one, if you see, right, it repeats the total sales across the rows. Then what is the difference between these two? In order to understand the difference, I'm going to create a slicer now. Look here, I just clicked on the empty space and then I'm going to click on the slicer. Here, what I do is category. In this case, I just put it here. Here, I'm going to select the dairy, and dairy is a bigger one. Okay, I just select beverages and dry fruits. That's it. Now, if you see the all selected, if you compare all and all, there is a difference here. In this slicer, I just selected only two values. Okay, how do I unselect all these things? Click on the eraser, it will clear all selections. Now, without making any selection here, we can see that both the all and all selected values are same here. Then you are puzzled and you make a conclusion that both the all and all selected are same. It is not same. For that purpose, I use this slicer. When I select these three items, what happens? All and all selected. Now the values are changed now. In the case of all function, it ignores the filter on the category column, the internal filter and external filter. That is the beauty of all. No matter, in my house, this is something like in your house, whosoever give advice, you don't listen to them. And outside people, if they say, give you a suggestion, you don't listen it. Okay, you are very adamant, right? Something like, you just think that way. Okay, but this guy, what happens is here, he is also repeating the same value, the overall total. But in this case, what happens, uh, in this guy, right, it gives the overall total for all the categories, 5 categories put together. The total sales is 4 lakh rupee, it repeats it. But this guy, whatever the items you selected, for that, what is the total sales? Only that total sales, it repeats it. Even in the case of all selected, it is not respecting the internal filter, but it is respecting outside filter. It's something like you don't listen to your brother or parents, but you listen to your outsiders, something like that. All selected, it respects the external filter, but it still disregards the internal filter. Similarly here, but not similarly, but in this case, both the internal and external, it's simply ignore it. So whosoever says, I don't care, right? I will repeat the total sales, overall sales for this category, because here I have used what thing. I just put that one also here, so that if I share it, you people don't have to break your head. All what is the all total sales, right? This is this is calculable. Likewise, you start play around with this one, all measure. Is this the one I used it? Yeah, this is the one I used it. All measure. Okay, if you select it here, see, I'm like all total sales measure. All total sales measure. This is the one I created. I just put this one along with this so that you should be able to refer these two things side by side, and you'll be able to understand the internal mechanism. Once you understand this, you will become an addict to this one. You will fall in love with the DAX. Look here. So here, the all sales measure is the denominator, the numerator total sales. Okay. And in this case, I've used all on category column. Ignore all the filters from category. So that is the difference between all and all selected. You understood? All ignores both the internal as well as the external filter, whereas the all selected, it respect the outside filter. For example, slicer or filter, if you have it, it'll respect that. It'll undergo changes. Okay, but in this case, it ignores it invalidates the internal the filter here. So beverages, actually 400 should be there, but it says no, I will not respect your filter. Instead, I will repeat the visual total, whatever the selection that you made, the corresponding total is called your visual total. So that one will get repeated here, whereas here it is not taking up the visual total. It simply takes the overall total. Hope you understood with this simple example the difference between all and all selected. And also, with this you are able to understand the calculate function is it's an excellent function using which you can modify the filter context. This is what you are modifying the filter context, right? The calculate inside the calculate function, along with all and all selected, you are able to modify the filter context. Even in this case, you have used, see, in this case, total sales, you have used it, the measure. You also use the total sales. Look here, total sales, right? But with the help of all function, calculate function, what it does is with the help of all function, it modifies the filter context. In this case, it is not filtering for each and every category, right? So in this case, the calculate function along with all selected, here also it modify the filter context, but here the modified filter context are completely different, right? With all and all select, the outcomes are completely different. Very interesting one, isn't it? The next one is Yeah, you can combine this condition also, right? You can combine this condition. So with this, you are able to understand, out of the total sales, what is the revenue generated in dry fruits? 0.05. And for example, probably we'll take a dairy. This gives you the decent one. The dairy 88%. Okay. And the next question is, okay, out of these items selected, tell me what is the percentage of revenue we generated. So now, see in this case what happened, this one divided by this one, it gives you this. Now what they want is this one divided by this one. This is not 4,56,000 of these four items selected. For example, I just, yeah, so 400 divided by 4,28, whatever the items that I selected, I wanted to understand what is the revenue contribution by the items selected out of this total. For this, you need to create another one. So that's why I created percentage of all selected. So all selected, we have already created it, right? So total sales divided by this. Instead of all measure, we are going to use this one. So now it gives an additional insight. You are armed with multiple insight. Look here, out of these three items I selected, what is the revenue generated? So 400 out of this one is 0, and 403 divided by this one, 94%. But if you compare this one and this one, right? So out of these three categories, what is the revenue generated by dairy? You can find it out here. And if your management asks you, okay, now you tell me, out of all the five categories, what is the revenue generated by dairy? You can answer these two questions, right? So I just save this to you all. I'm not going to make, because with this selected value, you can compare it and you can start practice it. Initially, you will find it, it's kind of, difficult one. Nothing is difficult in this world, right? So you can start practice it. You will be able to understand it. And I'll give you some assignments. Start do with simple one. And what I will do is I'll remove all the mess. Okay, so many things, I'll remove it so that you should not get confused. And I will include this one also here. Okay, what is there in this measure and this measure? Here it's a side by side so that you can compare it and you can learn it. Okay. So now you understood all what is all function and all selected and all selected. So what do we conclude now? So using calculate function, we can modify the filter context. Right here, along with the all function, all selected, we are able to modify the filter context. And also it can override the already existing filter context. Look here, in this case, what is the filter context? In this row, the beverages. In this row, the dairy. But if you take this example, we have overridden this default filtering context. We created a new filter context here. You can create a new filter context. In this case, more than 50 units sold. What is, for that, how much sales we made? Only for that transactions you tell me. Yes. We are able to create a new filter context using the calculate function. We are able to modify the filter context along with the all and all selected using calculate function. Now you understood the purpose of calculate function. If the filter context does not, it will add new filter context. That's what we did, right? So this one was not there. We added a new filter context. If you want, you can create, or you can override the existing filter context. Yeah, that is what this already existing filter context. All the existing filter context, this one, the dairy, what is the total sales we made? And dairy fruit, this is the existing filter context. I want to override this with my new filter context. So in this case, I have added a filter here, right? The 50 units sold. And here, if you see the 50 units sold, what is the column name here? Yeah, calc with filter. Look here, more than 10. Okay, I have used something else, right? 50, more than 50, the first one. Not 10, I think, yeah, calculate. This is the one. Okay. So now we are getting confused because so many measures that we have created it. How do I create? See, I just wrap up in 2 minutes. Don't worry. I feel you are exhausted. I don't want to tell you so many things in one session because it's a DAX. You need time to understand. So look here, I have created a separate table called measure table. I keep all the measure inside this measure table. It's a kind of a dedicated table to hold all the measures only in it. If you see dim location, location dimension, customer dimension, category dimension, you can see along with that the table icon, whereas the measure table along with it, you can see the calculator kind of thing. So what I did here, I created the separate table. In that table, I kept all the measures. So that later point in time, if you want to check what are the measures that I created, in which measure, which logic I used it, you can just click on the measure table and you can go and check it. So inside this, you can create the folders also. Look here like this. So aggregation functions, sum, average, related measures. I just so this is how you need to organize it. All the KPIs related, I create a separate folder. This is how you need to organize it in the real time scenario. I'll just show you how to create the separate dedicated table which can hold all the measures that you created it. Okay. And with this, I'm going to wrap up. Don't worry. I feel you are very tired. So now what I do is I just create a new table, or instead I just go to the data view. Here, I just select the home tab and you will find the new table or the enter data here. No, this is for, sorry, I should have used the table. Okay, you can select the enter table here, enter data. I just say column 1 or something like that. And next one is I just say load. Just table. I just go here and then I'm going to check the table which I created is visible. Look here, this is the table I created. So column 1 I created. I just rename it by clicking on it. Look here, I just go and click on it once, 2 times. Okay, so that I should be able to modify this table name. I just call as a retail analytics. This is my project name. This is the project I'm working on it, or this model, measure. For this model, what are the measures that we did? So this table, I keep all the measures, whatever I created recently. So look here, all total sales measure that I created, right? So what I do is I just expand this, and then the next one is all total sales measure. Where I kept it. So all total sales measure. So this is available under Calc tab, right? So Calc tab. This is the one I created recently. What I do is I just select this one, this measure. Look here, I selected the measure which I created it. And if you see here on top here, right, this is your measure name, home table, which table this measure should be kept. I just select this one. I have given the retail analytics measure. In this table, you move this measure instead of keeping it under calc tab. So, this measure should be kept under this one. So this is how you can organize your measures. You should be very organized, right? You do any job, it should be very organized. So here, retail, look here, under retail analytics measure table, this has got more. So now what it is, this column is not required. I just select this, delete from the model. because without column you cannot create a table. We create a dummy column. With that we are able, it's kind of a placeholder. What happened? The table itself or the retail analytics measure, you can say, look here, now it got converted as a calculator thing. Earlier it was a table, right? So now the icon got changed here. That means, this is meant for measure. In this, the newly created measure icon, I just moved it here. Likewise, this is a look here. So the location dimension, customer dimension, these are the business tables given by customer. Okay, and these are the measures created by you to perform some calculation, all the things, right? So whatever the thing that you created, you keep it under your, the measured calculator, separate table. And the business table, don't touch the business table. For example, this measure, don't create it under your business table. It will confuse them. Fact sales. Already you have a lot of columns. To keep it here, that measure, it will get confused. But obviously, these are your calculated columns. It will look here, measure calculator. So I kept it here. This is not the right way of doing it. I just selected it here. I'll just show you one more time. And the home table is, in this case, the retail analytics measure. So move this measure under this newly created measure table. So in my case, the measure table retail. Look here, the measure calculate this measure and this measure. It's kind of a folder. Okay, you create a separate folder. In that folder, you keep all the measures related. What are the measures that you get under this folder? You keep it there. Okay, that is what I did it. So that will be very organized. And within this, you can create some kind of folder and all. Okay, so for this, you need to go to the model view. And then where is that table, retail analytics measure? So this is the one. You just select it. And then in the properties, you will find something like row label. You can create the folder somewhere here. Okay, let me just do one thing, retail. Okay, and here. Okay, I don't remember it on top of my head. I just, check and tell you. Or we will just explore, this advanced, we can ignore that. And row label. Okay, this is the one I forget it more frequently. Okay, that one we will tell you. Now we understood, how why we need to create, separate measure table, right? So it will be more organized later point in time. This is how we do it. So guys, you start go through on all the topics, whatever I covered so far. And this Saturday and Sunday, we'll try to speed it up. And we are left with a few more important measures we'll show you. And time intelligence also will cover it. The interview, they'll ask you what are the DAX functions that you do it, that you are familiar with. You can tell them you are good with calculate. With calculate, you can create a new filter context. With that, you can override the existing filter context, and you can modify the filter context using all selected along with calculate function. You can modify, you can add new filter context with, you can override the previously existing filter context by creating a new filter context using calculate function. That's it, guys. Okay, and using calculate function, you can do context transition from row context to filter context. You can do it. The calculate table also same, but the argument for the calculate table is the first argument supposed to be a table argument, and that's it. But the calculate table function will return a table. That is the difference between these two. And we have something called filter. Filter, I have used that function, using which you can specify the condition. You can, based on the condition, what it will do is it will filter the entire data table, and then it select only the subset of the data based on the condition whatever you specified it, And then the filter function will return a table. Filter function is also an iterator function. But now the question is, filter function also returns a table, calculate table also returns a table. Then what is the difference between these two? Using calculate table, we can apply the filter context, but with filter function, you cannot do that, right? So with calculate table function, you can do filter, you can change the filter context, whereas with the filter function, you cannot do that. Filter function simply returns the table, whereas the calculate table function, like calculate, it does the filter uh, context, right? You can change the filter context with that. You can add a filter context, you can change the filter context. So now with that, you are able to understand the difference between calculate table and filter function. Okay, fine, guys. Thanks for all your patience and cooperation and support. And I'm going to wrap up the session. If you don't have any questions, any questions? So I know you're all busy, right? So you might be having continuous meetings, office meetings. What I will do is I'm going to wrap up the session now, and we'll share the videos. Please start practice at least the DAX part. This is very important. It's very interesting, isn't it? You can impress your management with this one. So take your organization data, install Power BI Desktop and take the data and do all the things. They'll be very happy. All right, we will circle back next weekend, Saturday, Sunday.